I'm Bruce Kulick,
John
guitarist.
Corabi.
Eric Singer.
And we're ESP, minus
Unplugged.
one.
ESP Unplugged, we are.
Yes, we are.
It's not your first time in Poland, isn't it?
For me?
Yeah?
No, it's not my first. I've been here a few times, many times. I don't know about John.
My
or Bruce.
second time.
And only my second time. We were here in April 12th. Just John and I played acoustic.
I was here with Brian May, with Alice Cooper, with Kiss, and
No, I haven't been here with
not
Kiss.
with Kiss. I thought Kiss played 2008 here.
No,
Never.
that was in Prague.
Okay, then I played with ESP, and we played. I thought we played here one time before. Okay, I've been here with Alice Cooper and Brian May. I know we played. I remember Warsaw in 1998 with Brian May. That I remember for sure.
Cool. Yeah, so
You know that you love to work with Brian. What was so special in his playing or personality? Do you have any plans to join him again?
With Brian May.
Yeah.
What was special? Well, two reasons. One, Brian May is a very unique guitar player. I think he's one of the best ever, and he's one of my favorites. But also, for me, I'm a very big Queen fan. So that's what was special. But I don't think Brian plans on doing any more solo type stuff. In the sense that he did before. He's been doing things with Roger Taylor, and Queen related things. So.
Bruce, and you are also influenced by Brian? Okay.
It's an interesting story about Brian. Not only was I a fan, of course, because Queen being such an amazing group, and he's just such a brilliant guitar player. I actually met him during one of my first gigs backstage. I actually was backing up a top 40 disco artist, okay? And him and Brian and the drummer came to the club. And then next thing you know, they're backstage and I'm talking to him and he was just the most incredibly intelligent, sweetest, friendliest man. And I promised myself, if I ever had the opportunity to be known by fans and everything, I would want to be, like Brian. So he was an inspiration for me in that way, not only as a musician, he's just a total gentleman, an incredible guy. And Eric's very lucky to have worked with him. I think he's a great guy.
okay, Eric, let's go to the beginning. Why did you start the ESP project? Basically.
Well, it came about actually by a friend of ours that runs the Kiss website, kissonline.com, and also he has Kiss Army Warehouse, Keith LaRue. Keith LaRue originally came up with the idea. I was going to do a record of cover songs, and he said, "Hey, I have some people that will invest to do a record if you do a record." But because Bruce and I had just come out of Kiss, he said, "If you do it with Bruce and John, they were working together in union. Then I have somebody that will give you a record deal." So that's how it came about in 1998.
What is the difference for you when you play gigs in front of 50,000 people and with ESP when you are doing clubs for 500 people?
That'd be
about
fi-
14,500.
that would be about 49,500. She said the difference between 50,000 and 500.
I thought you said
That would be
15.
the
I'm
difference would
sorry.
be about 49,500 if my math is correct.
I was going to say it's just better catering, really. The 50,000.
Yeah, better catering, better
Really
hotels, first class in the airfare.
Yeah. No, we do get asked that, and to be honest, speaking for myself as a musician, I really care about any size audience because I really want to play well. So I'm pretty nervous in a big crowd and a small crowd. It's really interesting that I care.
I'm more
Obviously.
nervous with the smaller crowd.
The
actually.
smaller crowd's probably harder to play
More
because they're
intimidating.
really right there,
I find it more intimidating.
yeah.
Myself, small crowd.
Me too.
Because when I was small, teenager, I was always very shy about playing drums in front of anyone. So whenever I get in these kind of situations, it kind of reminds me of being at somebody's house at their basement jamming and being kind of intimidated because your friends, everybody's standing like right here staring at you. But it's rewarding. It's rewarding because a lot of the fans really, you get to see the expression, the emotion on their face. Last night we played in Oslo, Norway, and the people were very drunk. But they sang along a lot of the songs.
Yeah, they had a good time with
And
it.
honestly, I think it made it, for us, a more relaxed, loose atmosphere. And we actually ended up jamming and messing around with other songs that we didn't normally play, even just parts of songs. So it made it more
Yeah, in a
loose.
big crowd, you can never do that. You got to stick to the program.
So you're not missing big venues from time to time. You're wearing Kiss and Motley Crue? No.
No, it's like, you
You're
know.
not missing it?
No,
for sure.
well, of course. I mean, you know, we all want to play, you know, the big crowds and like Eric was saying, you know, the big light show and lots of amps, you know, but you know, this is cool too. You know, like it does give you an opportunity in a bigger situation. You don't really get to see, you know, much past the front row, you know, so this is a way to, I don't know, just get out and feel the reaction from people in a smaller setting. It's cool.
John just finished a really cool tour in America by himself, playing acoustic opening for Cinderella, very popular band in America. And you guys were touring all different places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was very proud of him because that's pretty ballsy to get out there all by yourself and sing and play guitar in front of thousands of people. And you know, but I love doing it in an intimate club like this with him, you know. So it's all really about communicating with the people, and hopefully they enjoy your music, and it becomes a love fest.
Eric, do you think there's any album or song that represents your drumming style the best? Basically, what is it?
I don't know. I never thought about this kind of thing. I mean, I think anytime you get to play songs, your own songs, in other words, a new record, like we're working on a new Kiss record, so even though we're playing Kiss songs or Kiss style music, I have to be conscious of that and remember that I have to play for the music and for the song first, but still that's me playing drums. I'm not trying to play like anybody else. So I think anything I play on, I think it represents what I do.
Cool. What's your favorite Kiss album?
My favorite Kiss album? Probably Dress to Kill or Hotter Than Hell.
I think he means the ones you played on.
No, actually.
No, he means favorite
Oh, in
Kiss
general,
record.
okay.
I'd say Dress to Kill or Hotter Than Hell. Of the ones I played on, well, I like MTV Unplugged because I always tell people that was a unique kind of experience, and I always, as much as, I love doing the big show with the bombs and all this kind of stuff and playing dress up, it's like Halloween every night for us, but I still like the fact that when we did MTV Unplugged, it was taking all this away and showing the music just stripped down to its basic form of a song and a melody, and I think it proved.
400 people.
Yeah, but it proved I think, at least in my opinion, it proved that Kiss does have substance, and it was more than just, 6-inch platforms and makeup and grease paint and all this and bombs. It was, they have good songs and people we can play and we can sing.
Have you finished laying your drum track for the new Kiss album Monster? Can you tell us about the album will be like?
We're not done with it yet. We have done 13 tracks so far, basic tracks. Some vocals, some guitar solos, but I go back next week, and then we're going to be, right after Christmas, we'll be back in the studio and we'll finish the record. So it'll be ready to come out in 2012 and with a new tour and hopefully a new show and new costumes, new everything. I don't know I can't tell you what we're going to do exactly because that's still being worked out. But I do know the record will be done soon and ready to go.
Do you know when it's going to be released?
I don't have a release date exactly yet, but it'll be probably sometime in the spring or summer of 2012.
And it's going to be 13 tracks on it. Oh,
We've done 13 songs so far.
okay.
Guys, do you have any plans to record a new ESP album?
Do we have any plans to record a new SP record? Right now, there's no plans, but my attitude about music and music business and all bands is never say never, because anything's possible. So we've talked about it on and off through the last few years, but it's a matter of finding the right time to do it and somebody that wants to put a record out. It's not easy anymore. The record business keeps changing literally every month. Bruce will tell you, and John's working on you can tell him about it yourself. He's working on a acoustic record, and Bruce put out his own record last year. So they can tell you, it's not easy to try to put records out nowadays.
So busy with playing. Do you have any time for hobbies, sport, whatever?
Hobby or sports? This is my hobby. I just feel blessed that I get to do what I like or what I love, which, you know, I think most musicians have turned their hobby into their into their lifestyle and way of making a living.
What would be the best advice for a young musician who wants to be, successful?
Learn to write songs.
Learn to write songs.
Learn to write songs, because that's where the money is, in the publishing of writing, owning and writing the songs. Many people don't even perform, they just are songwriters, and they have made a very great living this way. But most importantly, yeah, well, he originally was in a band, but most importantly, I think, is you got to keep your head on straight. You know, try to, not to be a preacher, but you got to stay away from the drugs and the drinking and all this, because that ends up always very bad.
Can you hand me my heroin?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, I know you like watches. Is
Yep.
there any particular watch you would like to find under your Christmas tree?
Oh, boy.
Well, I was hoping Bruce and John would kind of pool their money together and buy me something nice, but no, I don't. To me, the watch thing is just a hobby. Like you asked about hobbies, it's just a hobby thing that I really enjoy, but it's very boring to talk about in this kind of situation, to be honest with you.
And you guys, what did
well,
you write
it-
in your letter to Santa?
Well, I'm a guitar nut. I do that, like Eric was saying. I mean, in a way, guitars are instruments that you can create on and enjoy and play. And I have a nice collection, and I'm always swapping and buying and selling my collection. But so who knows? Maybe Santa will be good to me this year, and there'll be a new guitar.
Look, John, paychecks.
Actually, I've written Santa several times, and I would like an Audi R8
There you
GT
We saw it at the show in Italy. Yes.
with the girl driver.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
That
The
girl-
spider.
the Spider.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's looking for a car. I'm looking for a guitar, and any watch will do for Eric.
Bruce, you took part in Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Do you think it was a good experience?
Oh, he's done more than just one.
I know.
I mean,
How many have you done?
Probably a dozen at least, maybe more. It's very hard work and in long hours, And Eric actually came along with Paul because Paul Stanley was the special guest at the one in L.A. and he got like a full day to see what goes on. It's always rewarding, It's not easy, but I enjoy, in a sense, sharing what I know about making a band, and they don't mind when I yell at them about it too. So I'm getting these like professionals, who are doctors and accountants and from everyday life, who always had that passion. Some of them can play a little, some are terrible, some are really talented. And then you're thrown together to kind of put them together in a cohesive band. And I'm telling you, it changes their lives, and I get the reward out of going like taking it apart and making it good. And then the other bonus is I get to play with people that I really respect, a lot of musicians, and I've backed up some of my heroes. I got to jam with Jack Bruce in London, who I'm a cream nut, played the Pete Townsend guitar parts for Roger Daltrey. It doesn't get better than that, So there's always those moments too when the counselor becomes the, like I have my fantasy because some people come in and play. And it was great. Paul played all the songs with my band. Of course, we did mostly Kiss songs, and it was Playboy Mansion was a lot of fun. It's a great time. Like I said, hard work, but very rewarding. And there's more coming. More of them.
Speaking of Paul, how's his voice? Because he has surgery recently.
Well, we haven't gone back in to finish the record yet, so he said he seems fine, and we went in the studio just to record a basic track, but we didn't do vocals. So he may have been working on vocals right now, for all I know, while I've been gone. But I know we're scheduled to go back in right after Christmas, and together, all four of us, can go and finish the record. So
He'll be fine. He knows good doctors.
Paul's a pro, one thing I gotta say about Paul, he's the consummate pro.
Definitely.
He always takes care of himself. He stays in shape. He trains. Before we get ready to go on tour, he always goes and works out, watches his diet. I mean, he's always treats it very respectfully, everything he does. He's a total pro.
Ace Frehley released his biography, No Regrets. Have you read that?
Which one?
Ace Frehley's.
No.
I heard a few things about it, but I didn't read it yet.
I don't think somebody told me that he doesn't, I don't get mentioned, so there's no.
I'm not in it
I'm not,
either,
if
so-
I'm not in it, then there's no reason for me
Yeah,
to read
exactly.
it. Honestly, no, I wish Ace the best. I like Ace. He's a nice guy, but I don't care about these kind of things, these kind of books. To me, it's like, some people find it interesting, and for me, that's the great thing about books. There's something for everybody. For me, I would rather read about, a historical figure or something. About who?
Watches.
About watches, yeah.
So
Or
I'm
historical
sorry.
figures. I'm more
It is
interested
for
in
your
this kind of
role,
stuff. I'm more interested in this kind of thing.
So it's not, you are not going to write any memory book.
There's nothing, I don't have any story to, I mean, everybody has their story of their life, but I think, my opinion is, if you're gonna write a book, then you better be willing to like, really be straight up and tell all the, because people don't wanna hear just a nice, all the goody two-shoes. They wanna hear the dirt. They wanna hear salacious, all the behind the scenes and all the dirt in the closet. They don't wanna just hear about how sweet everything is. It's not interesting to people.
I started writing, a friend of mine was helping me talk about my career and the time in KISS. It was shortly after The Dirt came out, the book from Motley Crue, which John gets a chapter in, which was pretty extreme. I mean, there was a lot of crazy stuff in the book. And, the business people that were kind of, asking about it, do you have anything like that in it? And I was like, no. And even if I knew something kind of, dark, I wouldn't want to really share that when I respect the people that I've worked with. So I realized I really kind of shied away from, and I don't really know how I'd ever do a book. It would have to be my way, meaning, the way I want to tell the story and not try to, throw people under the bus, which is what some people do. They have a
Sometimes it's
grudge.
not meant to throw people under the bus. I think sometimes.
It's an expression.
If you, sometimes it means sometimes you want to tell the truth and it will make somebody look unfavorable or look negative if it's viewed that way. But I think, unfortunately, the way society's become with all these reality TV shows and all this stuff, everybody only wants to see, they want to see train wrecks.
Yeah.
They want to see problems and chaos, and not everything is always chaos. So it's very difficult to do this, and I personally think some things are left best to have your own memories between in your own head, and you don't need to share them with the world. I think sometimes it's being more respectful that way.
Polish roots, that could be a nice chapter in your biography.
Which
what?
one?
Is it true that you have Polish roots?
Did I have I missed that.
Polish roots.
Oh, Polish roots, yeah. I mean,
I
one
thought
of my.
you said, is it true?
I know. Is it?
You have polydent.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like-
polydent. Yeah,
like, what?
I keep my dentures. No,
I thought you were Russian.
no. I'm mixed. Russian and then Polish and some what they called Prussia, or that it's just Eastern Europe. Apparently, on my mother's side, my grandmother came from Poland, and again, that was a very long time ago. So I just found out a lot about that more recently. So I think our trip,
Yeah.
I was kind of fascinated with it. I was looking forward to seeing Poland, because obviously back in the times of my, grandparents and everything, this was a very different place, as you know. It was Russian controlled, right, and, problems and not the kind of, we were really impressed with a lot of the modern stuff we see here and how people are living here. Quite impressed. I see you as the new, like, chic Europeans, So I'm proud of that.
We had a big. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. We had a very big Polish community in Cleveland, growing up. I remember.
I'm afraid we have to finish this interview. So the last question would be, what is the most annoying question you always hear?
The most annoying question.
This question, probably.
Oh, boy.
Trying to think. It's usually something about KISS, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But usually it's some kind of KISS related question people will ask. I mean, look, everybody's proud of everything we've done, but sometimes questions become kind of old or redundant. I mean, I'm sure that every time John gets asked a question that's something to do with Motley Crue about Tommy Lee or Nikki Sixx, people always ask me about Gene,
His tongue.
Is Gene's tongue real? Is it sewn on, or this kind of, crazy. I mean, some of these become, after a while, you think,
Yeah.
do people still believe this kind of stuff?
We've heard them all, so we know what to do, no problem. No big deal.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Very much.
All
Thank
right.
you.